everyone and welcome to FlossTube number 35. Today I've got a lot of stitching. I got a lot of stitching done. I've been away for 2 weeks, so it's a little bit more content than usual. Also, I have some plans that I want to discuss for July. But before that, if you're a returning viewer, thank you so much for coming back. I hope you enjoy this content too, and it warms my heart that you want to spend some time with me. If you're new here, hi and welcome. I hope you enjoy this, and that you want to stay and hit that subscribe button and everything. My name is Marika. I come from Stockholm, Sweden, where I live with my boyfriend and my 2 cats, and this is a channel all about cross stitching. So yes, today's schedule. First we're going to do all of the finishes, the safts, the whips, all of those nice things. Then I'm going to talk a little bit my July plans. That's the word. My July plans. Then I'm gonna go into some private talk, or a little bit about me and the life and why I didn't post last week, and also kind of explain why I look like I have been going to the gym, which I haven't, or coming directly from the gym, which I definitely don't have. And finally I have some shop updates toward the end of the video. But I hope you enjoyed this video, and let's get started. So for my finishes, let's start with finish number 1, and that is the unexpected visitor. So I finished it. Look, can you see that? Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorgeous? I just love it. It would have been a fully finished object if it wasn't that the frame that I even painted black for it didn't fit. It was a little bit too narrow on the side, so it would have been taken away these little thingies, and I didn't want that, so back on the drawing board for that. But this is the unexpected visitor. It is charted by Night Spirit Studio, and it is stitched in the charted DMC on some catching coral, which is my own hand dyed. So yeah, that is that piece. That piece was for #Stitch for Sage, and that is the end for me for that. But if you want to stitch some stitches and join the #Stitch for Sage, I had more information about that in my last video, and yeah, go over and look at that if you haven't seen it. It was a good video. I talk about a lot of things. But yeah, next 2 finishes. So I never know if I'm gonna check them as a separate finish, but yeah, I have the rainbow animals. They are from issue 323 by the World of Cross Stitching magazine. Oh god, it is so warm in here, and I have the lights up because it's the only way to record in here. It is warm. It is warm here in Sweden. I'm sorry. It is so warm. Anyhow, this is the rainbow animals. They are from the issue 323 from the World of Cross Stitching magazine. They are by Stitchrovia. It is the 2022 September issue, and you can find it in the app on I think both iOS and Google. So I purchased all of the back issues earlier this year, so I have a lot of magazines to pick from. The first one I finished is the cute little penguin. Nice, right? When you saw this last, I had a couple rows left of the white on the belly. I have done all the black outlines, and now it's filled with color. So yeah, I really like these. These are all going to be framed in little bamboo circular hoops that I'm going to paint black. So I need to paint them black. They actually arrived here a couple of weeks ago, but I need to paint them black. And the second of them is the panda. And again, when you last saw this, I only had the outlines and the white. And now I also got the color on them, the rainbow color on them. Super, super cute. I previously have done a horsey and I still have a foxy to do. But yes, this is super adorable. It is stitched on a 474 DMC, which is a very lightly mottled, blue-green mottled printed fabric from DMC. So 14 count. So yeah, that is my finishes. Now we're gonna go to my SAFs. So that SAF stands for start and finish, and I have 2 of them this past 2 weeks. So I had an order in from Sitched finally with all of the autumn stitches. They are up in my store if you want to do the Mill Autumn projects. There are both button and beads, and the smaller ornament. I also picked up a little bee from previous years, which basically almost is only beading on, which is kind of cool. But yeah, if you want to see that, you can see my store. But I started stitching one the day after all of the things arrived. I was looking at Instagram, and Calcavimsy, Christine, I think, she had just started this, and I'm like, yeah, I'm gonna join you. I didn't join you with the lighthouse, so I'm gonna join you with this. So this is Haunted Cottage by, I'm gonna make sure that it actually focuses on this. Haunted Cottage from the Autumn Button and Beads collection from 2023. This one has some glow-in-the-dark beads up here and in like the windows, so it's gonna be super fun. I haven't really taken the time to see how they look in the dark, but yes. So this is a button and beads project. The button and bead projects, they are made to fit a 6x6 frame, so you can buy the frame from Mill Hill, but you need like a little tool to have little things that you shoot into the frame. It's just the wooden frame, nothing else that you get. I am going to look into if I can find other frames. I've been looking at the there is one that has a deeper mount from IKEA, but I think it might be, if I make multiple of these, it might be too big. So we'll see. I'll figure it out how I will frame it. But a button and beads always have a little button. This one has this little pumpkin here. And then you get the beads and the threads. This is stitched on like a navy perforated paper, 14 count. Most of the threads for this specific project is 2/1. But yeah, it was super fun. It took me 4 days, I think, to finish. This was what I finished, not this week that has been gone, but the week before, because that was my last week on my so-called fun employment. Then, today, I finished a little Santa. So, I realized here that, like, 2 days ago, let's see, yeah, 2 days ago, I realized that, oh, I haven't stitched on my Santa. So if you don't know, I am hosting the hashtag Mill Hill Santa Sale 2023, and my goal, the goal of the hashtag is share any Santas that you are stitching on during 2023, or gnomes, because the Swedish word for gnome and Santa is actually the same. So gnomes, I think they fit in there, absolutely. But I thought I had stitched June's. And then I realized it was the month between April and May that I did 2 in a row. So I did one at the end of April, and then I did May's in the beginning of May, and I thought it was between May and June I did that. So then I realized, oh, I haven't. I need to check if I had, and I hadn't. So now I have. This is the Norway Spruce Santa. It is from the Timberline collection of the Mill Hill Santas, and isn't it adorable? Look, it has a little birdie and a little squirrel. That's the bird, squirrel. And it had a little mustache, and that's super adorable. I do have one little mistake, or there are actually 2 mistakes down here, but you can't really see them, so I don't mind. I have a whole pile of Mill Hill projects that needs to be cut down and mounted with string and everything, so I'm gonna have to do that one day here. But yes, that was the last of them. That was my June project, and that was the last of my finishes for this month. I do have this 2 weeks, well, for this month most likely, because I don't think I will finish something today. But I do have 2 works in progress, so let's dive in and get them. So the first one, I need to move this needle though, because it was interfering with the design. The first one is the fox from the unicorn, or the rainbow animals. It is so hot in here, my mind is just fried, but we're gonna get through this. This is the fox from the rainbow animals. When you saw it last, it had the white and the black, but it didn't have the pink little tongue and the start on the tail. So those are the last thing I did. So basically what I did with these rainbow animals, first I stitched the horse. Then, when I went in to stitch the other ones, I just actually cut down the fabric, so I had one piece for each of these designs. And then I did all of the outlines, the black, it's not black, I think it's 3371, which is a dark brown. I stitched that on all of the 3 pieces, and then I stitched all the white on all the 3 pieces, and now I went in with all of the colors per piece. So yeah, so that is one work in progress that I have that might not be touched next month, because we're gonna get into those plans very soon. The next is the Castle Homecoming. This is one I'm gonna stitch on tonight after I have gotten this video up, and that is here. Clue number 2. Oh, you can't see all of it. Here we go. There we go. So there is that one. Clue number 2 is this little guy here, that little guy, and then the bridge, like the bottom of the bridge. So the 2 gray lines just under their feet, those were from clue number 1, and the rest of the bridge is clue number 2. And I only have the darkest line and the outlines of the bridge left. So I'm pretty sure I'm gonna finish that today. So I'm gonna have a clue finish today. Not a finish, but a clue finish. And this is stitched on the kit. So it is 36 Valor, 16 count Ida Valor. Sorry, 16 count Ida Valor. I say it is hot in here. Valor with the shirted DMC and the 2 coloring cotton threads. So yes. That is all my stitching for this week, so let's start with the plans. So let's get into the Christmas in July, because I love Christmas, and any reason to do Christmas is good with me. So what I'm gonna do, I do have another Mill Hill kit that I'm going to stitch. It's one of the gnomes that I have in my store, and I will put up a picture here, and I don't even know the name of it right now, but I have everything outside when it comes to that, because I arranged the kit this morning, basically just sorting the beads and the threads and everything. So the kit is set up to be started stitching, so that might be the first thing I start tomorrow on July the 1st. And by the way, it's cycling. Tomorrow starts the Tour de France, so I will be watching Tour de France and stitching for quite some time, except for when I'm working. Then I just will be having Tour de France in the background. Anyhow, so that is my first Christmas project. My second Christmas project was almost something I didn't think I could do. So I was looking for the Barbara Ann designs, and I thought that I only could get them in paper form, but I did find a store that carries them, all of them, in PDF form. So I have 2 of them, and I probably will only stitch one of them, but these are the 2 that I picked out. The first one is this one, which is Miss Miss Claus, Dreaming Miss Claus. That is the name of it, which is adorable. I saw someone, one of the floss tubers stitching on it, or they had finished it, and I just fell in love with it, and I was sure that I was going to stitch it. It's shirted on a very light blue, but I have two fabrics that I'm considering for it. One of them is this piece, which is like a brown. This is actually taupe. This is Murano, which is a 32 count even weave. That is Swagard's 32 count even weave. It's called Murano, in the color of 779. So yeah, that might be it. I need to do a floss toss on that fabric. If that doesn't work, I have a navy blue 16 count Ida. That might also work. Again, I need to do a floss toss because I'm a little bit worried. I think I have a couple of houses at the bottom. I'm worried that they are too dark to show up on the navy, but otherwise that might be a thing. And then we have the second one, which is this cute little reindeer. I will also write the name of it here because I don't remember it because my brain is fried. But yeah, this is adorable. Again, I saw another floss tuber be stitching this, and I think this was in a magazine first and now have been released as a PDF. So I'm super happy to be stitching one or two of those. Then I have a little bit more. I have a lot of projects that I'm kind of sorting through. I won't be stitching all of these, but I might. Well, no, I will be stitching them, but not in July. Next one is the Country Cottage Needleworks Big City Christmas. So this started, these were released once a month here from, I think, November. I got them through Fat Quarter Shop. So these are all these little houses. So I've been getting these. I haven't hauled these at all, but I've been getting these once a month, and this should be all of them. And I think the pattern is all 7 in a row, so I think that is what I'm going to do because I have a few places where I would like to put them up. I do need to gather the materials. Like, I'm going to do all of the DMC alternatives because, as usual, I don't have the classic colorworks and it's a lot of money and I have to wait a lot of time to get it. So I'm going to do the DMCs, but I'm going to go through all of these and check what DMCs they have, check that out, and then I might do a color conversion because I like these, but some of them they're a little bit too muted for me. So we'll see. But these, and I think these are going to be stitched again on that taupe 32 count Murano. By the way, you are going to be able to pick up that in my Etsy store in very, very soon. I have that, a handful of different really fun colored Idas. I can talk a little bit about more in the store section. Then I have the last of the Christmas projects that I have planned or that I have bought. And that is a whole bunch of dimension kits. I've been wanting to do a Christmas project for Dimension. I have one. It's a Santa. It is gorgeous. So I decided that I pick up a couple more. So I have, but I most likely would only be stitching on one of these, and I'm gonna talk about that the last. So 2 I picked up was these little like houses, I would say, or storefronts. So these 2. See if I can get it. Like, yeah, look, no shininess in these 2. So it's the coffee shop and the toy shop. I think they're gorgeous. I picked these up in a local store, or somewhat local. It's here in Sweden. They don't have as many DMCs as or dimensions as you can get anywhere else, but they have a few. I also picked up this, which is called Winter Housing, because I love birds. And this is kind of Christmassy, but I'm not sure I'm gonna get this now in July because it does says Noel on the house there, but I don't know if it's Christmas enough. And then I have the last one, which I'm gonna have to carefully hold because I opened in the bottom. And that is these. These are ornaments. There are 6 ornaments. They are stitched on 18 count ivory. These are like the fabric is fairly big, so these are not going to be teeny tiny. I think these are going to be about that size, which means on 18 count it's going to take some time. So I think I will be planning to make one of these during Christmas in July. And for the last part of Christmas in July, I have an idea of teeny tiny ornaments. So last year, if you were following me in December, you would have seen that I stitched 18 ornaments. I used a calendar by Doreen Jones that I found in like a Christmas collection magazine in the World of Cottage magazine app. And I made 18 out of 24 of those little ornaments. I removed the numbers and replaced it with something if it needed it for the balance in the image. I really enjoyed making them, and I really enjoyed sending all of the 18 ones out, and I want to do it again, but stitching 18 of those in 1 month was a little bit much, and also they looked very small, but because of all the backstitching and everything, they were a little bit time consuming. They took me about a day each. So I have a plan on designing some traditional Scandinavian Christmas designs, much smaller, and make like 24 of them or something. We'll see how many when I get bored. That is basically how I thought about with those 18. I'm gonna stitch until I get bored, and at 18 I got bored. So that is a plan that I have, but I haven't put in the research, so I don't know if I will have time to get it done in July, but I'm hoping to get some of those done in July. So yeah, that was all of the stitching and the stitching plans. Let's head in and talk a little bit about kind of why I didn't post last week and my life this past weeks. So after I left you the weekend directly after my last video, I had Christopher Parents come by. I actually recorded that video on the Thursday because on the Friday Christopher Parents came. It was also the week of my migraine treatments, so I was kind of out of it. But we had a great and like just full weekend. On the Saturday we spent the day in Vaxholm, which is a little island town, kind of a harbor town. It is on an island, I think. At least we went out there. They have the areas with little red houses with gravel roads between them. They're very close by, and they're very old houses, and it's just beautiful. We found a little bench there, just looking at the water, having the breeze, just breezes, because it was quite hot. And then we continued out on the islands, out to Värmdö and beyond by car, because you can go with the with little ferries out. And we ended up at a farm that we actually went to, me and Christopher went to last year. We went with Christopher Parents, and apparently Christopher Parents had been there with Christopher before me and Christopher met, so over 10 years ago. This little farm has like alpacas. It's more like an educational farm, so you can also see the goats and the sheeps. They have horseback riding, they have a cafe, a restaurant, and like a little ice cream place, and a big playground for children. So it's more like touristy kind of a place than farm. But yeah, it was really nice. The alpacas was adorable. We had some really good lunch, and then we headed back into town. On the Sunday we headed out on a guided tour out to an island called Sandham. You can only get to Sandham by boat. However, there are like commuter boats that goes a little bit faster, but we took the long way around and took the guided tour boat. They go through all the little canals. It takes about 3 hours, and out, and then 3 hours back, and then we had about 2 hours in the on the island. We had a 30-minute tour on the island, and then 1.5 hours when we could just go around. Sandham is kind of known for the sailing around there. It is the place where the Gotland Runt, which is a sailing competition, ends, which is nowhere near Gotland, but that's another thing. And yeah, it was great. They also have little red houses with growls and everything. It's super cute and super adorable, and we had a lot of fun. We had like late lunch, early dinner at the boat on the way home. Just a great weekend. I did stitch on the way out, but I didn't stitch as much the rest of the time. We just chatted and had a really nice time. They ended going home. Well, they went to the hotel on the Sunday evening, and then went up early on Monday and went home. They stayed at a hotel. So that was that week. Then I had my last week of fun employment, and I did some dyeing, which I'm going to show you a little bit later. I also, it's been very, very hot here. It is very, very hot. You might see that I'm just running away right now because it is super hot and I don't have any fans or AC or anything. But yeah, so my brain is a little bit fried. The weekend after my fun employment and just before my work, so those few days, there on the Friday when I was supposed to record and make my last floss tube video, we ended up going out hiking, and we were supposed to be camping. We got the tent up, but we went to Tyresta National Park, and what we didn't know is that they don't allow camping outside of the campgrounds, and the campgrounds isn't really campgrounds. They're just areas that are a little bit more open, so you have all the roots and everything underneath your tents, but also they're very, very small. So we found a place where we wanted to stay, and then they just kept on filling with people. And while we were sitting there, we decided, okay, we're gonna eat our food. I think we're going home, so let's eat our dinner a little bit earlier. And while we were eating our dinner, it started to get very much cooler, and the wind was picking up, and it was like you could feel in the wind that the rain was coming. So we decided to go home, which we then kind of was happy that we were actually putting our things down, because just after that, a mom with some children came, and the way she was screaming at her children wasn't okay in any shape and form, and it kind of triggers me quite a lot. So I want to go home. I don't want to hear this. I wouldn't be able to sleep there. So we ended up actually hiking back those 3.3k and going home, and we ended up coming home fairly late, and then we just had Saturday and Sunday just being lazy because I started work this Monday. Yay! It's really, really fun. I'm gonna work from home. However, I'm also gonna be in the office. And now in the beginning of this, I'm gonna be in the office a little bit more. Even though I have 100% remote in my, that I'm allowed to do that, I am going to do a little bit of hybrid because it was great. It was fun to meet people and work with them. I just get so exhausted that I can't really do more than 1 or 2 days, and then like my social batteries are just mute. So I'm gonna be in there and do that, and that has been a lot of fun. So the last week I've gotten a little less stitching done because I've been working at a new job, so it's super, super fun. But yeah, that has been my week so far. Today is Friday, and I actually had the day off because I still work 80%, which is awesome. And for the last thing of this video, we're gonna talk about my store, or like store stuff. I'm gonna show you my dyed fabric. So even if you don't like store, you might like dyed fabrics. So I tried 2 new colors. the week before Christopher's parents came. This week it's been too hot to dye or iron or do anything, so I haven't. And so these pieces aren't ironed, and neither is the fabric that I dyed for last week. So the colors I have done is, first I did a very diluted version of Raven. Raven is a black color that if you want to get the punch of the color, you want to work with hot water. I didn't work with hot water, and with it diluted, it ended up being this beautiful blue. It's like a washed jeans color. It's like a washed denim. So a stone washed denim. So I really like it. It's a beautiful color, but also because of its being a hot dye, I think it's being a hot dye, and the dye didn't really kind of break out. This is one of the colors that it didn't break the color out. I had pigment in the bottom of my little dye bath container. It's not as mottled as the other colors. It's much less mottled, but I kind of like it. This is a 16 count Ida. So this is made on 16 count Ida. I also did it on the linen, which is this piece. It has a little bit more of the stronger mottling. This is again a glittery linen. I think this is a this is a 28 count, because all of the linen I have dyed on has been 28 count. So you have a little bit more mottling. It's a slightly darker, but basically the same color, but just a little bit more mottling. And the last one, sadly my machine decided to eat the fabric. I don't know, I had a couple of smaller pieces, so I picked out I think this is a 28 count that I picked out, and these are like 8 fat 8s, but they're not fully fat 8s. I'm gonna measure them when I get them up in the store. So I'm gonna reduce the price a little bit, because the machine kind of, I think it is, I'm pretty sure that at the end of me serging, I had some issues with my serging a while, and I think that when I had that issue with the serging, that is why it does this, because I think it actually released it. And this all of this fabric was serged since before. This isn't from my new machine, it's from the old machine, so I'm gonna need to serge the edges again. But yeah, as you saw, when it comes to the color, this is much lighter in color, and again much less mottled when you do it on the even weave, which I discussed in last week's video, I think. And then we have moss, and this is it has a similar tonal to my moss, but it is much more yellow. So and today it's actually coming out pretty much true to color. So this is the even weave. Again, my machine, I wash it in the machine, and it's just sadly ripped a little bit, but I'm gonna cut it down, serge the edges, and calculate the width of these pieces. It's quite, this actually did get quite a good mottling, even though it was even weave. Then we're gonna look at the linen. Again, it's same, it's the glittery linen, or the opalescent linen in 28 count. This have a little bit more variation in the color, so some is a little bit more yellow, some is a little bit more green. Still, this, I'm gonna call it new moss. It is much more yellow than my old moss that I had, which was a blue color, which was a special recipe that I lost. This is just pure moss dye. So if you want something like this and you don't want to buy it from me, you want to dye it on your own fabric, you can always go to the Dharma store, Dharma Trading, and buy the moss color if that is what you want, because this is a new dye. And then we have the last, which is the 16 count Ida, which again you can see it mottles very similar to the linen. The linen and the Ida does, even though it's two completely different fabrics, they take the dye similarly, not perfectly, but similarly. So yes, Those were the dyes. I've had a lot of other things coming into the store. Some is actually already up in the store. As I mentioned with the Haunted Cottage, I got all of the button and beads and all of the other fall creations that were released in 2023 over on my Etsy store if you want to pick them up there or anywhere else. But yeah, you can go and have a look or look at them there if that is what you want to do. And so those came, and then just a couple of days later my big order from Swaggart came. I am going to carry fabrics, as I said. I kind of mentioned it a little bit before. I'm gonna carry, not only am I going to do a little bit of dyed, I am not going into becoming a dye shop. It is not possible in this apartment and with my body at the moment. If my store grows, it might be something I would get some helper to do in the future. And the only way for my store to grow is for people to buy my fabrics. But right now I'm doing maybe 2 baths a week, somewhere around there. And I'm going to put the fabric out when I have a little range of fabrics. I'm going to put all of them out, so maybe have a release once a month with those kind of fabrics. But in the between, you're going to be able to buy the Swaggart fabrics that already are dyed in the factory. And I have picked up a bunch of them. They are not in the store yet, but I'm working on getting them in there as soon as possible. Among them is the 779 Murano, which most store calls taupe, so that is what I call it. The kind of a fun thing when it comes to Swaggart. Swaggart have names for all the fabrics. So a Lugana is a 25 count even weave. A Brittany is a 28 count even weave. A Murano is a 32 count even weave. When it comes to Ida, they have Ida, Star Ida and Fine Ida. Star Ida I think is 14 count, just pure Ida is 16 count, and Fine Ida is 18. But when it comes to linen, it is again a Belfast. I don't remember them all. I used to know these, but yeah, Belfast is one of them, and that is the 32 count that they have in linen. So they have names on all of the fabrics, but the colors doesn't have names. All of the colors have numbers. They are just called, there's a sequence of numbers. You have 4 numbers that tell you which kind of fabric it is, and then you have 3 numbers that are which color it is. And I think the other stores have taken upon themselves to name these ones, because nowhere on the Swaggart sites is there any names of these. So there is kind of a consensus between stores what they are called. So I just did some research where I kind of just compared the dye number with different stores and found kind of the names. There were some names that I was like, yeah, I'm changing these. I don't want I don't want these names in my store, but most of the names are gonna be the same. And to give an example of some of the colors that are coming in, I have an 18 count chocolate brown. It is a reddish chocolate brown. It's a beautiful brown. I have a 16 count navy blue, which is a deep rich navy. It's, if you like the black Ida but don't want to stitch directly on black Ida, navy can be a little bit softer to your eyes, so that could be a thing. I also have a pink, which is this powdery pink, beautiful Ida. I have some 25 count potato. I have a light yellow that is slightly more towards the cooler side of yellow than the yellow that I have stitched all my bees on, but it's very similar, and that was why I picked it in the store, so if you want that. So those are coming into my store hopefully this week. I'm hoping to take a little bit of time this weekend to just set up the listings. I need to do some calculations on prices before I do that, but yeah, that is what is going on right now with the store, with me, with the stitching. I have one thing left. I hope you guys are here because I do have the giveaway winners. So let me get my book. So the giveaway winners are from last week's video. This is kind of a test because I want the giveaways to go to people who enjoy my content, to actually start from from the beginning to the end. So yeah, as usual, when I've had giveaways, I will tell you a word that you need to weave into your comment to be in the winnings to the giveaway. The giveaways are open international, and now I'm gonna read up, and I'm also gonna put here on the screen the comments because that makes things even easier, because they have changed. YouTube have changed again, so I can't see your display name anymore. I can only see your handle. You can actually go in yourself and change your handle. So if you have a name with like 4 numbers, because that is how they did it, you can actually go into your account and change that if you want to. So yeah, but I'm gonna show you the name, the comment. If you recognize this, my email is in the description down below. Go down there, go to the email, send me an email with your name, full name, address, and your handle name, and I will send these winnings out to you. Last week I had 2 giveaways. I was giving away the offcuts, both from my piece of the Unexpected Visitor, which is I think it is a little bit bigger than a eighth of a fat eighth. And then I also had the offcut of my original moss from my coast to coast sampler that I made. So the winners, drum roll, for Catching Coral, the fabric from my Visitor, the word was Visitor, and the winner is Chris Evans 8072. So Chris Evans 8072 is the handle, and this is the comment. For the offcut of moss, which is slightly smaller than an eighth of an inch, the winner is Virpir 2453. It goes to VIRPIR 2453. And here's that comment. So yes, that was all for me today. I don't have any giveaways today. It is too hot. It is too hot. It's really hot in here. Anyhow, send me your emails and I will send those things out to you. I just want to say thank you so much for watching. It is so hot in here. I'm now going to go out and sit in front of my Dyson fan for the rest of the evening, finishing off my Castle Homecoming, maybe even stitch a little bit on my Rainbow Fox. All of those things to get all of those done so that I have more content for you next Friday. But yes, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoy. All of the details of all of the products are listed in the description down below, if you are wondering, and I will see you next Friday. Bye!